Nederlander. It's Greg Medford from American Service Knife. You guys know me from my other little knife company, but we started this one up and it's a ton of fun. I hope you guys really like this. Great knife for Europe, and the Cato Group is carrying them. You guys will be able to get them. I'm looking forward to hearing you anal retentive, detailed engineering, nitnoid Europeans. Tell me what you think about these knives. I love the continent over there. I've always had great fun for years going over there. I love interacting with you all. And I find the more we get out, the smaller the world seems. And the more people we talk to, the more alike we all seem. I feel like if we all got around and talked to each other more, there'd be less of Ukraine, Russia, and a whole lot more of Woodstock. My mom always says we should get together and have a big orgy for about a decade. She said we'd all come out a really nice light mocha brown and the world could be a happy place. Here's some knives for the Cato Group. This is the first time a company has had all 4 of our models. I only see 3 of them
Actually,
here.
there are only 3. They're missing the
Alcase?
whichever one's not here is the only one they're not getting.
Yeah, the Alcase is the only one you guys are missing because of because we haven't ground the blade on it yet. So the blades in these are in tumble. They're gonna have all 4 knives really, really soon. I hope you guys like these. I'm gonna give you just a really quick rundown on them. First knife here. Oh, they have everything. Okay, I'm sorry, they have everything here but a Jefferson. So they will have all the models. This is the 3 remaining models. This is the Alcase, this is the Washington, and this is the Ironsides. Now, let me break this down for you Europeaners a little tiny bit, because it's got a little bit of Americanism here, okay? Back from when America was a country that didn't let the CIA run everything and screw everybody up, and back when America was just kind of young and hopeful, and it was this wonderful place for everybody to know they could always go to if it went shitty in their own country, there were these wonderful people that we had called heroes. There was no gender identity. They just hung it out on the line and did great things. The knives are named for them, okay? Jefferson was one of the great minds of Western civilization. His writings, thoughts, input, and leadership around the signing of the Declaration of Independence and subsequent U.S. Constitution really changed the world. So many of you, your countries are older than ours, but as you've gone through the transition from kings to parliaments, it was a seminal document that's just changed everyone's world. And we wanted to name the knives after those folks, the guys who changed the world. They weren't woke. They weren't dividing people. They were really liberating people for the first time ever. And I know many of you know history, know this. The first one is the Jefferson, and the Jefferson is our base orange color. And I know the Cato Group already has that model. It's the configuration in which I carry the knife. It's my favorite configuration of the knife. And I named it after Thomas Jefferson because although he wasn't the father of our country, he was definitely an uncle. And he was clearly one of the seminal minds of the last 300, 400 years. His take on George Washington was that George Washington in any other time would have been worshipped as a semi-god on earth. He was the finest horseman in the colonies. He was 6'4" in an age of 5'5" people. The King of England and France were both told they probably shouldn't meet him because they'll look like children in front of him. He was a great dancer. He was a great leader. And he did everything with nothing and basically took on a global superpower with a ragtag bunch of volunteers and pulled it off. His thoughts on freedom, personal empowerment, the right to keep and bear arms, liberty, a library of writings and thoughts from him really changed the world, and he is the father of our country. Thomas Jefferson, who was considered even in Europe as one of the great minds of the New World, said, George Washington might be the only historical figure who lived up to the reputation. Many of you Europeans don't know this, but our Capitol building, the big building with the white dome, it's neoclassical in origin and design. The center of that building, down on the bottom, is a crypt that lies empty. It was meant to be where George Washington's body was interred. And he was so rejecting the idea of kings and so embracing self-determinism of the common man that he had himself buried in a humble plot right at his home. And that's one of the places I really fell in love with America. And the second knife is named after George Washington. It's called the Washington. It's more of a soldier's knife or a tough field utility knife. It's got a through-looking range fodder bottle opener. It's got a bolt scraper for an M4 style firearm. And then it's got our mono tanto with a Magnus crown tip. This is a single thickness grind that gets thicker at the tip. You'll see the expanding bevel, a really, really strong edge, and that tanto that so many young soldiers like to use. Named after our first general. The third knife in our lineup was Ironsides. The very first thing the new America did, as it was finding its feet and the kings of Europe wouldn't give us the time of day since we were no longer under protection of the British, the very first thing we did is we sent ships to the Mediterranean. One of them was USS Constitution, which we called Old Ironsides, with an oak hull that was hard to put cannonballs through. We sent them there to battle Barbary Coast pirates, liberating almost 2 million European Anglo slaves who had been enslaved in North Africa. Old Ironsides is still a commissioned ship in the United States Navy. It's the oldest commissioned ship. We still keep a stand of forest here in Virginia just for felling trees in case the ship needs to be restored this century or that. The ship is a symbol of us, of liberation. It's a symbol of our global power and the ability to do good globally, if you're thinking correctly. We named the knife after the Old Ironsides. It's got, I think, more of a working knife on it. We put a 6 on it, which is a really strong sort of Warncliffe derivation, obviously from Northern Europe. Our basic tool, some hexes. This is called a Zeus fastener, quarter turn blade. A lot of boats and aircraft have Zeus fasteners for opening up compartments. That's what that's for. Also might be a good thing to be prying around maybe where there's sailcloth or fabric and you don't want to tear it, as opposed to using a chisel. The next thing here is a local homage with a Warncliffe style blade, which is great for field craft. It's got an all needle with an eye and a bottle opener, of course, small screwdriver. Done in high-vis orange, so when you're out in the field working, you don't leave it out in the field. This knife could just as easily be used to cape out an elk or to whittle something you need for improvisational field work.
And that's which one is
That's
this?
the Alcase.
Okay.
Let me talk about the Alcase just for a minute. So there was a Native American from here in Arizona. He earned the Congressional Medal of Honor in the Geronimo campaign. His name was Alcase. He was an Adonis of a Native American. He served with U.S. Cavalry and was just known by the U.S. to be a stalwart, loyal, forward-thinking warrior. We named the knife after him, and it was just a nod because we're from Arizona. I'm from Arizona. I'm from the same dirt he was from. I was born here, and we thought we would do something that just kind of smacked of just pure field use. And the number one thing guys say when they use stuff out in the field is they end up accidentally leaving them behind. So we did it in the high-vis orange, and that's named after Alcase. So a little bit of a little homage to him, a little remembrance. So a good field use knife, a good soldier's knife, and a sailor's knife, or somebody who's around aircraft, sailors, and anything with like traveling compartments and so forth. All of these knives would be great, and remember, all the tools are available individually. The knives are all swappable. The titanium hardware is Swiss turned here in the United States. The titanium liners stamped here in the United States. The handles, the tooling for them made here in the United States. They were injected here in the United States. We have some carbon fiber handles coming out. They're beautiful. The blades, the tools, everything was made here in our shop, including the springs, all using CPM steels. S45 primarily, some Magna cut from time to time. They are openable, they're expandable. You can collapse them to a single layer, open them up to 3 layers, or leave them the way they come from us at 2 layers. If you like one of these tools, you can order the tool and swap out your tool. You could take the knife out and make 4 tools. You could put 2 blades in it. You could get the long axles and put 3 blades in it, or 6 tools, and carry it as a companion piece to your main big knife. Tons of options. It's the most modular, customizable knife made for you. I think the most American thing, rock and roll, muscle cars, Harley Davidsons, and a knife you can make any way you like.